A carbon tax is a fee levied on fossil fuels. It threatens to fine big corporations and basically anyone on the amount of damage they cause to the environment in terms of carbon emissions. This sounds just about right, but why are some people against it? Could it be that it's all just a classic hoax? Let's find out. Economic impact on the poor. The carbon tax places a price on carbon emissions in order to deter companies, especially from polluting the earth. Are carbon taxes good? Yes, in theory and in practice. Does carbon tax work? Most definitely. Although carbon tax has proven to be progressive, it often is regressive in the sense that it affects the financially less privileged more negatively than it does to those who are of privilege financially. This raises the cost of their shopping basket. It is far from simple to devise transfers to compensate them for this loss. Compensation processes may be underdeveloped, making it difficult to identify and compensate those who have been injured. It imposes a higher burden on those with low incomes by making fossil fuels more expensive. They will devote a greater portion of their income to necessities such as gasoline, electricity, and food. Most people cannot afford to switch to electric vehicles, which prove to be more sustainable. Are you keen on following how a carbon tax is implemented globally? Subscribe to this channel, and you won't miss out on any developments on it. Knowing the impact on individuals is one unfriendly impact of the carbon tax. Is the carbon tax really ideal enough to allow for this to happen? Later on, we'll tell you how the lack of idealness makes countries move against the carbon tax. Entrenched business interests. Governments may hesitate to adopt the carbon tax policy because there are entrenched business interests that would lose. Allowing fossil fuel market prices to grow quickly to reflect social costs, according to the World Economic Forum, may not be desirable for other reasons as well. The carbon tax on fuel tries to reorganize economies by raising the cost of a vital resource that powers them.
Completely failed to alert me to the recent panic in our economy.
However, because people, capital, and other resources do not flow effortlessly into new industries, restructuring takes time. During the shift, resources may stay idle for long periods of time, and the greater the immediate price increase, the greater the potential for short-term disruption. A portion of the resources used in other sectors will flow into renewable energy and related industries, resulting in increased investment and job creation. But besides all the goodies it promises on the surface, are there adverse effects countries that agree to it might suffer? Find out as the video proceeds. However, as is clearly evident, this will not automatically and quickly compensate for the disinvestment in fossil fuels. In the short term, supply-demand mismatch will occur when several economic variables such as size of fuel reserves, the size of stranded assets, the severity of winter, the future direction of climate policy, the pace of renewable sector innovation, or demand risk are all subject to significant uncertainty. It's easy to see how economic disruption could be amplified. Lack of ideal relevance. Another issue is that the carbon tax policy is not ideal. A truly comprehensive and cost-effective carbon tax would target greenhouse gas emissions beyond carbon dioxide from energy-related activities. These are non-energy sources of carbon dioxide emissions, including land use emissions from agriculture and forestry, and industrial process emissions. Other released molecules such as methane, which has a short atmospheric lifetime but a substantial warming potential, are not directly targeted by the carbon tax program. Agriculture/livestock emissions, deforestation, waste management, and poor land use are difficult to quantify and monitor, and they are rarely charged directly. Contrary to what we just said, do you think carbon is rather ideal and should be implemented? Why? Tell us in the comment section. Economic impact on countries. Different countries strive to make their countries greener, but the carbon tax policy in particular comes at a great cost to the general welfare of their respective countries. The price to pay seems to outweigh the rewards that comes afterwards, and that seems to be the obstacle that prevents these countries from adopting the carbon tax policy. Some experts recommend that these nations should ease the carbon tax into their government slowly, and the tax should be reflective of the economic status of the country. Will the carbon tax further worsen government spending woes? Hit the like button for a yes vote and dislike for a no. At the same time, the tax should still be efficient enough to deter companies that may release their carbon emissions. This is to make sure that as said company thrives, the carbon tax also moves along with it. Unfortunately, we have to bring this episode to a close here. However, we still have you in mind, so we affectionately recommend this video. Why are so many countries against the carbon tax? It'll help you understand the scale of affairs concerning the carbon tax. We'll see you when we do. Stay safe.